Dot Solutions. Add-on desired.
Hello viewers, welcome to Dot Solutions Daily Current Affairs. I am Lokesh Penugonda. Our first article, government has unveiled a stimulus package worth 6.28 lakh crore. So we'll see why a stimulus package have to be announced by the union government. When the COVID pandemic struck the country in the last year, we have seen how numerous businesses and sectors were negatively affected. So government has launched and released several stimulus packages last year, and this year we have seen the COVID second wave, and even in this year, due to the COVID second wave, numerous sectors were negatively impacted, mainly the tourism and hospitality sector. So to help these sectors, the government has launched the first stimulus package after the COVID second wave, and the government stated that this package is worth 6.28 lakh crore. We'll see what this means. Does it mean that this 6.28 lakh crore will be transferred to various sectors and to various people? The answer is no. But rather, this money will be given by loans. This would be given to financial institutions under the credit guarantee scheme, and it would also include the already mentioned schemes by the government. So, we'll see about the loans and we'll see about the credit guarantee scheme this 6.28 lakh crore will be covering. First is the loans. As many sectors are facing financial crisis, government is providing subsidized interest loans. That means you will get loan, but you have to pay interest amount at very low price. This is regarding the loan. Next is the credit guarantee scheme. So what is this credit guarantee scheme? Let's assume that there is a bank A. This bank knows that if it gives some loan to some sectors, it might not be able to get back their money, because it knows that if you are giving this loan to tourism and hospitality sector, as this sector is under financial crisis and is under the COVID impact, it would not be able to pay back the money I have loaned to it. So what the bank A will do is, it will not provide loan to some specific sectors which it think are negatively affected. So what the government will do is, the government will state to the bank that if you give a loan and if you are not able to get back the money you have given as loan, then we will reimburse it. Then what does it mean? That if the bank A is giving 1000 crore as loan to some hospitality sector, but it is able to get only 900 crore, technically bank A is losing 100 crore. So the loss the bank A will face is 100 crore. But what the government is treating, that as we have the credit guarantee scheme, then we will cover a portion of this amount as reimbursement. That means we will try to give some amount of the money you have lost. It may be some amount or it may be complete amount. So as this bank A is losing 100 crore, the government might state that we'll provide you 50 crore as compensation or as 50 crore as reimbursement. So this credit guarantee scheme will help banks to recover their losses, if any, and this will allow the banks to provide loans to even sectors which are highly affected by the COVID-19. So this is how the government is trying to improve the credit availability to various sectors in the country. Next we have an article which is talking about the successful test firing of nuclear capable Agni-P missile. So we'll see about the Agni-P missile. Agni is a class or category of missile, and under this class there are several missiles. We have the Agni 1, we have the Agni 2, Agni 3, Agni 4, Agni 5, and now we have the Agni-P missile. So why do we have numerous Agni missile categories? First is, when you are moving from Agni 1 to Agni 2, or if you are moving from Agni 2 to Agni 5, the range and the capabilities of these missiles will be increasing. So when we come to Agni 5, the missile range is 5000 kilometers. 5000 kilometers. That means that this missile can hit and can destroy a target which is less than 5,000 kilometers away. So we know that a major portion of China and a major portion of even Russia will be covered under the 5,000 kilometers. So in case if there is a war with China, we can use this missile to target and to destroy several bases of China, even if they are 5,000 kilometers away. Now we'll see about Agni-P missile. Agni-P missile is the latest test-fired missile by the DRDO, and the DRDO, after successfully test firing it, has stated that this Agni-P missile will have a range of 1,000 to 2,000 kilometers. That means this can hit accurately a target which is nearly 2,000 kilometers away at max. And we'll see where this test firing took place. DRDO has successfully test fired this missile at APJ Abdul Kalam Island. This is an island mainly used to test armed forces equipment, and this island is near the coast of Odisha. So these are some things you need to remember from this article. Next we have an article where it is stated the country China has formally started the operations of the world's second biggest hydropower dam. This second highest hydropower dam is named as Baihetan, whereas the largest, that is the first largest hydropower dam is titled or named as Three Gorges Dam. What you need to remember is that both the second largest and the first largest hydropower dams are in China. Why is China constructing some of the largest hydropower dams in the world? The first answer is to reduce its fossil fuel dependence. Currently, we know that in the world, most of the electricity is being produced through thermal power plants. So we have the thermal power plants which use coal to generate electricity, and this generated electricity will be used to evaporate water, and this evaporated water will give you steam, and this steam will be used to run turbines and produce electricity. So a large amount of coal is being used world over annually to produce electricity. As coal is highly polluting and highly providing dust particles, countries in the world are trying to reduce their dependence on these fossil fuels. So China is trying to reduce fossil fuel dependence, so it is constructing these large hydropower dams which are renewable energy sources and which are providing sustainability in the long run. So these are two reasons for the China's construction of some of the large dams in the world. Next we have an article which is talking about the extension of a friendship treaty with the China and Russia. So we'll see about this friendship treaty. In the year 2001, the China and Russia have formally signed a friendship treaty which is titled as China-Russia Treaty of Good Neighborliness and Friendly Cooperation. So we have the treaty called as China-Russia Treaty of Good Neighborliness and Friendly Cooperation. This was signed in the year 2001, and it was supposed to be a 20-year treaty. So this would officially end in 2021. So what the Chinese and the Russian president did was they entered into agreement to extend this treaty. So as this treaty is getting over by 2021, they have decided to extend this treaty by 20 more years again, and this treaty will now end at 2041. So this is with respect to the treaty that is extended by China and Russia. Next we have an article where the chief economic advisor has stated that the government is confident on reaching the divestment target of 1.75 lakh crore. So what do you mean by divestment? divestment is nothing but selling of government owned companies and government properties. So let's say there is the Government of India, and Government of India has many public sector undertakings. It may include the Life Insurance Corporation, it may include the General Insurance Corporation, and it may include the banks such as SBI, Indian Bank, and many other banks. And apart from these public sector banks, public sector undertakings, government also own large amount of land. So when the government needs money, it might sell a part of these companies, or it might sell some amount of land, so that it might get revenue and it may get receipt out of this, and it can use this money for other purposes. And in the 2021's budget, the Finance Minister, Mr. Nirmala Sitharaman, has stated that government in this year will get 1.75 lakh crore as divestment. That is, government is selling assets and getting 1.75 lakh crore. As we are talking about the budget 2021, we'll see some important provisions of this budget. This year's budget of India is 34 lakh crores. That means India will be spending 34 lakh crores starting from 2021 and ending on March 31st of 2022. So we'll see how the government will get this huge amount of money to spend. First is the government will get 19 lakh crore. It will get 19 lakh crore through revenue. So we know government collects taxes. It may be corporate tax, it may be IT tax, and it may be several other cesses and duties that are levied on the people. So through all these and through other means, government is getting 19 lakh crore. Whereas the rest 15 lakh crore, the government is getting through borrowings. That means we are borrowing 15 lakh crore to spend in this budget. So this is how government is getting 34 lakh crore. What you need to understand is that within this 19 lakh crore, the government has now, that is, it is not borrowing. Within this 19 lakh crore, 1.75 lakh crore the government is getting through selling some of its assets, called as divestment. So this is how you should link the divestment targets with the budget. Next we have an article which is talking about a report released by the antivirus software firm, that is McAfee. So we have a antivirus related software firm called as McAfee, and it has provided a report, and according to this report, it is the country India and Chile that are top targets for apps with fake vaccine promises. So what are these apps that are promising fake vaccine promises? Let's say there is a cyber criminal gang, and the cyber criminal gang might start an app and might release this app with a similar name as to the government app. Let's say the Government of India has released the coronavirus app called as CVZ. So let's assume that a Government of India released a government app called as CVZ. Then what the cyber criminals will do is, they will also release an app. They will title this as CVZ2, or they might title it as CVZX. So they will release an app with a similar name so as to copy the government app. And there might be person A. This person A, when he is going through the app browser, he might download CVZ2 or CVX because he thinks that this is a government app. So he will download this app and he might use this app. When he is downloading and using this app will send some malware to his mobile, and this malware, after going to this mobile, will take the control and access of this mobile, and it will give this access to the cyber criminals. So cyber criminals, by using the information which is in his mobile, will try to take the take the data which is kept in the mobile, and will also able to access various bank account details that may be linked to the bank. This is how cyber criminals are bringing in apps that are promising fake vaccines, but in fact they are targeting people as to try to exploit them. And according to this MECAF report, it is India and Chile that are the top targets for apps with fake vaccine promises. Next, we have an article where the Minister of Road Transport and Highways, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, has stated within 3 months, India will allow ethanol-based flex engines in vehicle. So we'll see what are these flex engines. Flex engines are those engines that a vehicle have, but these engines will allow or will run on more than one type of fuel. So we'll see this with an example. You have a bike and you use petrol to run this bike. So what you can understand is that it is a petroleum based bike. This is a conventional bike. Now if you have the flex engine vehicles, then not only you can use petrol, but also you can use ethanol, you can use LPG, or you can use some other fuel. So when the petrol prices in the country are increasing, you will not use petrol and you will use LPG, or you will use ethanol, or you will use hydrogen. So it will provide customers more alternative fuels, and it will help the government to reduce its import dependence on petroleum products, because we have already seen how, due to the rising global prices of petroleum products, in India 1 liter of petrol is costing more than 100 rupees. So if you have the flex engines, you can use LPG, you can use ethanol, so you would not have to import, you would not have to use large amount of petroleum to running your vehicles. So this is what we mean by flex engines in the vehicles. Next, we have an article talking about the T20 World Cup. Earlier, the BCCI has stated that T20 World Cup will be hosted by India this year. So technically, India should be the hosting country for the 2021 T20 World Cup. But the BCCI and the government is of a view that if we host the T20 World Cup and if we allow spectators in this match, more COVID-19 infections might rise and third wave of COVID also could take place. So to prevent all these, the BCCI has come to the conclusion and has informed the government that it is shifting the T20 World Cup venue from India to United Arab Emirates and Oman. So this is a significant development when it comes to the sporting field. Next, we have an article dealing with the Fukuoka Grand Prize. So we'll see what is this Fukuoka Grand Prize first. Fukuoka is a city in Japan. It is a city in Japan, and there is a foundation called as Fukuoka City Foundation, and every year this foundation will award to people who are promoting Asian culture and who are preserving Asian culture. So we have several countries in the Asian continent such as India, China, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Maldives. So to promote Asian values and to protect and preserve Asian culture, if someone is working, then they will receive an award by this Fukuoka City Foundation. And this year's foundation award is going to Mr. P. Sainath, who is a noted journalist and writer. The Fukuoka City Foundation has stated that through his writings, he promoted civil cooperation between Asian countries and Asians. That's why we are giving this award to Mr. Sainath, whom you can see in this image. Next, we have an article where the Serum Institute of India has stated that he is hoping to resolve the Green Pass issue as soon as possible. So we'll see what is this Green Pass. After COVID-19 struck the world, many countries had to close their borders. That is, they are not allowing tourists, they are not allowing people from other countries. So it is leading to kind of travel ban from one country to other. But what is happening now is, as people are getting vaccinated, some countries are allowing people from other countries who have taken both the vaccines. We have in India vaccinated more than 32 crore people. So these people are technically eligible to enter some of the countries which allow passengers or which allow people after taking their vaccination. But there is a small issue. The European Union, which is an organization or a grouping of 27 European countries, they have something called as a green pass, and they allow people after getting vaccinated, but they have to be vaccinated only by or only from some particular brands, because we have many companies that are producing vaccines, but some of these companies vaccines are not effective. So there might be a company which is producing COVID-19 vaccine A, but this vaccine might have a efficiency of just 60%. And there might be company B which is also producing a COVID vaccine, but this vaccine's efficiency is 90%. So European Union will only allow those people who have taken vaccine from trusted brands and that have a high efficiency. And in India, most of the people are taking the Covishield. They are taking the Covishield COVID-19 vaccine, which is being locally produced by AstraZeneca. As this name is not given in the green pass, people who have taken vaccine who have taken the Covishield vaccine are not being allowed to the European Union. So Mr. Adar Poonawalla, who is the CEO of the Serum Institute of India, has stated that they are in touch with the European regulators and they are hoping that this Covishield vaccine they are producing locally would also be named under the green pass, so that people who have taken this vaccine can visit the European country. So this is with respect to this article. Next we have an article where Ukraine, United States have launched Black Sea drills. So we'll see what is this Black Sea drills. Earlier this week we have seen how a United Kingdom's naval vessel, when it entered Black Sea, it was fired by Russian forces. So we have the Black Sea here. When the United Kingdom's naval vessel is in the Black Sea, Russian forces have attacked or have given a warning to this vessel. And now, to promote the international routing and to promote the sea route in the Black Sea, Ukraine and United States have started a mock drills in the Black Sea. This drills is called as sea breeze drills. Sea breeze drills. And the country United States and India have stated that they are including 5,000 military personnel and 30 naval vessels in the Black Sea to conduct this sea breeze drills. So you should note that this is a drill that is taking place in the Black Sea, and this is mainly directed against Russia, whom have supported rebels who have taken the part of Ukraine here. So there is a part of Ukraine here which was taken by rebels who are supported by Russia. So this is with respect to the sea breeze drills. Next we have an article where the atlas of glacial lakes in Ganga basin have been released. So we have the glacial lakes. So what is this glacial lakes? You have water, and when the temperature drops, this water will be becoming glacial lakes. Similarly, when the temperatures are increasing, this ice might be melted and they might become lakes. So these are called as the glacial lakes. And the atlas of glacial lakes for the river Ganga basin, have been released by the Ministry of Jal Shakti. So you should note that this is released just for the Ganga basin, not for Brahmaputra or the Yamuna basin, and it is released by the Ministry of Jal Shakti. Jal Shakti. Next we have an article where the Supreme Court of India have instructed the government to adopt and to set the deadline of July 31st for implementing the One Nation, One Ration card. So what is this One Nation and One Ration card? The Supreme Court is asking the government to implement by the July 31st. First, we'll see how PDS or the ration card system works. Let's say there is person A. Person A might be a poor guy and he might be living in the state of Andhra Pradesh. He might be living in Andhra Pradesh. As he is poor, the government might give him a ration card stating that every month if you go to ration shop, will give you some amount of food commodities. So person A might go to ration shops which the government states. So if person A is living in one particular area, he can go to just one ration shop which is linked to this ration card. But what can happen is person A, after few years, he might shift to Maharashtra for job. So he might be a migrant worker. That means he might be living in Maharashtra for some time and he might be living in Andhra Pradesh. But when he shifts to Maharashtra, he would not be able to get the ration, that is the free food or the highly subsidized food which is being provided, because earlier the ration card is provided by the Andhra Pradesh state government. So when he shifts or when he moves to another or new state, he cannot get the ration supplies at a subsidized price. So his health would be negatively affected. He would be malnourished if he does not have enough food. So what the Supreme Court is stating, that as there are nearly 30 crore migrant workers, you need to bring the one nation, one ration card scheme. That means if person A is moving from Andhra Pradesh to Maharashtra, he might still be able to get highly subsidized food at ration shops even in Maharashtra. So one person in the country can go to any ration shop in the country and get highly subsidized food. This is regarding the one nation, one ration card scheme. The union government has launched this scheme 2 to 3 years back, but only half of the states have implemented this scheme, and the Supreme Court is stating that to ensure that no migrant worker is not without food, you have to implement this scheme, that is the states have to implement this scheme before the July 31st deadline. So this is the Supreme Court instruction given to the government yesterday. Next we have an article where the High Court of Uttarakhand have suspended the Char Dham Yatra. So what is this Char Dham Yatra? It is a Hindu pilgrimage yatra where Hindu pilgrims will visit 4 important pilgrim destinations in Uttarakhand. These are Badrinath, Kedarnath, Yamunotri and Gangotri. So if you hear the word Char Dham Yatra, it means a person will visit 4 holy shrines of Hindu religion. These are Badrinath, Kedarnath, Yamunotri and Gangotri. The High Court of Uttarakhand have stated that if we allow people on their Char Dham Yatra, it might lead to increasing of COVID-19 infection and we might invite the third COVID wave, so as to prevent the rise of infections and to prevent the coming up of third wave of the COVID-19, the High Court of Uttarakhand have suspended this Char Dham Yatra. Next we have an article where several Delhi students have won Diana Award. It includes Mr. Kaif Ali. So we'll see what is this Diana Award. This is an award which was started to honor the United Kingdom's princess. So we have the Princess Diana, who is a princess of United Kingdom's ruling family, and she has lost her life in a car crash, and the United Kingdom's royal family have brought out this Diana Award, through which it will provide recognition and it will provide award to people who are working for the poor and who are working for people who have less. Next we have an article where the government has officially given the nod to import the Moderna's vaccine. So what is the article talking about? Earlier this year we have seen how the government of India has allowed Covishield, it has allowed Covishield, Covaxin and Sputnik V vaccines or Sputnik 5 vaccines to be used by the people under emergency use authority, and now the government has added one more COVID vaccine to be used by the people. This is a vaccine developed by Moderna, which is a United States-based pharmaceutical company. The government in its yesterday statement has stated that it has allowed Cipla, which is an Indian firm, to import the Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine so that this vaccine can be rolled out, can be sold in India for people. So this is with respect to the last article. And with this, we have come to the end of this session. Inform about ADORS initiative to your other aspirant friends. You can visit our website to attempt mock tests based on our daily current affairs videos. And thank you for watching.
Add-on Solutions. Add-on Desires.